Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Strategic Wealth Strategies Podcast with our host, Alan Porter. Alan, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Beautiful day in North Carolina. Sun's coming out, but looks like we're getting the remnants of hurricane come in here Saturday.
Oh, boy, that means some rain coming, I'm sure, to the Northeast as well. And we're going to
Yeah.
talk today about long-term care. One of the biggest mistakes, and then this is almost like when people think about term life, they think about, getting long-term care insurance that's really not as a powerful thing as, being able to make money with it too. And this is where we're going to kind of talk about long-term care, the way you look at things, right, Alan? It's a little different perspective than some people talk about long-term care, right?
Well, it's just like if, long-term care, all insurance products are great because they all protect the family and protect your assets. But if you bought long-term care insurance when you're, say, 60 years of age and you die in your sleep at 75, it's like term insurance. There's no cash value. But I show people a different way to look at this using fixed and fixed indexed annuities that have, with a fixed indexed annuity, this one particular one I'm thinking about, let's say that you need long-term care. Well, it has an increasing value when you annuitize the contract, it have an increase in value. Let's say you've annuitized it and you're 72 years of age and you get this annuity for a couple of years. And then the third year, you got confined in long-term care, you got Alzheimer's, whatever. Well, that income will increase, will double for 5 years with increasing strategies that are tied to it. When the indexing strategy goes up, at the end of 5 years, if they're still in the nursing home, then it goes back down to what it was before with all the increases. But if the person passes away and if they got joint income, the spouse still keeps that income coming in for the rest of their lives. That's just one example. Now, I've got my favorite is cash value life insurance because you're paying pennies on the dollar for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of protection, and it's tax free. And I know this is why I got started in this business. My daughter-in-law, she had a terminal illness rider on her life insurance policy, and she called me. She was 39 and called me up January 5th, 2010. Alan, I got stage 4 pancreatic cancer. They give me 6 months to live. Of course, it devastated us because my son was 100% disabled. He hadn't worked in 3 years and still not getting his disability. So it had not been for that, because there's no income coming in. And if it had not been for that, my son would be bankrupt and took a big financial strain off of me. But people need to become educated on this stuff because people don't understand. There's many different ways of paying for paying for long-term care. But I feel for paying pennies on the dollar with something that's tax-free is the absolute best way to do it.
All right, let's kind of jump into specifically about horror stories about people that go into long-term care. Tell me about that.
Well, a lot of people have never heard of the means testing for Medicare Part B. And I had this one gentleman, he's a multimillionaire, and he had $1 million in an IRA. And he didn't have to worry about anything because he had super millions of dollars. But let's say somebody has $2 million in their stock portfolio or something, and their spouse needs long-term care. People have no idea the cost of long-term care. It's between $50,000 to $200,000 a year, and it goes up by 6% every year, if not more. And the number of nursing homes is going down, and we have an aging population. So basically, what that means is the people who are taking care of people in long-term care, it's going to be the surviving spouse. Because if you got a $2 million stock portfolio and you need long-term care, and I give this guy an example, this millionaire, I said, you got you got $1 million in that stock portfolio, and long-term care costs for her $100,000 a year net. I said, just at a 25% tax bracket, what kind of money do you need to take out of that stock portfolio to net $100,000? He said, well, $125,000. I said, no, you got to take out $137,000 at a 25% federal tax rate. Because if you only took out 25, you'd only net $92,000. He said, I didn't realize that. Well, most people don't. But the thing happens too. What if you have, you stop contributing to it? It's like I said in retirement, you have sequence returns risk. Now you got that stock portfolio going down. You're taking more money out of it on a decreasing asset. You're going to run out of money. But when that happens, people's portfolios are reduced to zero because the government's going to take all that money to pay for that person long-term care. Medicare does not pay for long-term care. Medicaid does. That's why it's called Medicaid spin down. The surviving spouse will be left with one car, one house, and approximately $137,000. That's it, out of maybe $2 million.
Wow.
And people just don't understand. I've had many people tell me, Alan, I'm never going to need long-term care. Well, bull. 70% of all Americans are going to need long-term care at some point in their life. 40% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 64 are on long-term care right now. And an age lab study by Dr. Korsky at MIT University stated that if you're married at age 65, there is a 75% chance of you or your spouse contracting Alzheimer's, dementia, or Parkinson's. And I know this for a fact. My brother is in long-term care right now because he has Alzheimer's. The state patrol called his daughter up, said, you need to pick your father up. We caught him going down the interstate in the wrong direction. He's confused, doesn't know what he's doing. He had no idea he was doing it. And that's one of the worst things you could ever do, is try to put a loved one in a nursing home. A lot of tears, a lot of fighting. But I mean, he's 5 years older than I am. And people, tell me, they said, well, are you ever going to retire? I said, not if I got a healthy mind, I'm not. Because people need to know this information I'm putting out.
I think you're going to have a healthy mind for a long time to come, Alan, because you educate yourself every day. That's the big thing. People don't grow. They get to a certain age and don't want to grow anymore, Alan. And you definitely grow and learn every day. What do you feel is the best financial vehicle for long-term care?
Well, like I said before, I think cash value life insurance, whether it's whole life insurance or whether it's an index universal life insurance policy. Because they'll understand that you're paying pennies on the dollar for that death benefit, and it's tax-free. And people don't understand this, but when they get challenged with something like this, they're going to say, "Oh my God, why didn't I listen to that guy years ago? I wouldn't have this problem. I wouldn't have this worry, and my spouse is going to be protected."
What are the costs of long-term care?
Well, the cost can range between $50,000 to $200,000 a year. I mean, they just keep going up and up and up. People have no idea about these costs, and they don't think it's going to happen to them. But it's just, you can't pay. You can pay for long-term care out of a stock portfolio, but the problem is, just like I explained, you're going to run out of money, and besides that, you've got taxes to pay. Plus, you got there's just all kinds of things. What if you have a big loss in the market, like 2008? The majority of people in long-term care are going to be cared for by their spouse in their homes. And I want to pay for long-term care, but it's going to be in my home, but it's going to be by a qualified person, so I don't have to be a burden on my family.
Many people pay for long-term care out of their stock portfolios, as you've been talking about. It just doesn't seem like a good fit, Alan, in any way, the stock portfolio, because you're going to lose money. And then let's expound on something we talked about before. What happens if you don't have money for your nursing home and you still have assets? What happens to those assets if you're in a nursing home? Because they're going to choose any nursing home for you, not the wealthy, rich one, like anyone, but they're going to take all of your assets, right?
Yeah, it's like I said, Medicaid spin down, and people have no idea about it, because that's what happens. The government's going to take all your assets, and they're going to pay for long-term care. As I said, Medicare does not pay for long-term care. Medicaid does.
And the difference is, you're going to try to get money out of it. You're going to pay the percent, but if you have cash value life insurance or you have an annuity, you're good to go. Sounds like.
Exactly right. And here's the thing too. Both of those financial vehicles protect you from the number one fear in life, and retirement especially, the fear of running out of money before you run out of life. It has so many protection features, so many benefits that a stock portfolio does not have. And people need to understand, in retirement, it's not about returning your assets. It's about distribution of your assets. And, the older you get, especially with fixed index annuities, the older you get, the higher the distribution rate. I just had a gentleman the other day. He says, how is this possible, Alan, to use 2/3 of my asset to give me the same distribution rate as a stock portfolio? I said, because it's first off, it's an insurance company. Insurance companies are I think the strongest entity out there besides the U.S. government. And the U.S. government can raise taxes and print money, but make laws. But people don't understand, and life insurance companies have been around for over 150 years. Annuities have been around for longer than that. But people are miseducated from the benefits of cash value life insurance and fixed indexed annuities, because they're the greatest financial vehicles when it comes to retirement, because of all the benefits that a stock portfolio does not have. I mean, yeah, you can make massive gains in a stock portfolio, but you can also have massive losses. And a 1% fee over a 30-year period, a stock portfolio will reduce your income by 1/3 of the 30-year period. The average fee for a 401k is 2.99%. And Neil, I just got out of a meeting with a guy, and I told him about the fees in the 401k. He said, well, I don't think there's any fees in mine. We did a Zoom conference. His fees were 4.23%.
Man, because they're saying they're aggressively doing certain things, and they're not just letting it go. They're really they're doing work every month. They're thinking that warrants it.
Well, they may or may not be, but people just need to become informed.
Yeah, because they would never know they're paying those fees. All right, so the best place to go is you can email you at strategicwealth0@gmail.com, or call you at 910-551-1046. And you're in demand. You're busy, but you're trying to give the opportunity, because you're always talking to people now, right? Just every day.
I got meetings till 8:30 tonight.
Wow. See, that's called somebody that really is dedicated to his job and dedicated to his profession, because he's helping people. And Alan, how do you feel about helping people every day?
Well, it's great. I mean, we talked before about retiring. When you retire, you lose the zest for life, I think, because I couldn't play. I played golf all the time, but I couldn't play golf every day. It could drive me nuts. But it's just something that people need to understand. You got to have a passion in life, and my passion is to educate people. I did it in the Army as a Black Hawk instructor pilot, and I do it now as a financial advisor that thinks outside the realms of conventional financial planning.
All right, Alan. We appreciate it. Again, a great. Also, we love that we simulcast with the Neil Haley Show. People love this segment, and thanks again for stopping by, Alan.
You bet. Have a great day.
All right, that was the Strategic Wealth Strategy Podcast, guys. Take care.